I just want to briefly introduce you to Patrick Oberli, which is in the back of the room. Patrick is a journalist for the Swiss newspaper Le Matin, and he has been really active on the issue on integrity, especially since a couple months ago when he made a TV report or show about a Senegalese football player who was playing here in Switzerland in the second division for the FC Thun, who had been sanctioned for life by the FIFA for fixing a match because he accepted a bribe of 5,000 euros. And it's a really interesting story. It's linked to the Borum case, big case in Europe of match fixing. And the really interesting part in his work, more than he's a journalist, is really into integrity and education. And he went to Senegal last week to show this TV program to in the academy. The Jambar Academy is the academy that have been created by Patrick Vieira, the football player, to show the 16 and the 14 and the 15-year-old football player who would love to play in Europe for the rest of their career and make some money, how the system works and how the match fixing could break a player basically and make and send him from a star level to a nothing level basically. So he's going to be involved with the EU athletes on the program on education because his TV program has been great, and we are going to use that as well in the training center visit. Anyway, so he's not here to take any notes or things. He just want to participate. So don't worry, you can speak freely. He won't use that anywhere. It's the deal we had. So I'm going to present you the convention, the EPAS convention on match fixing. But first of all, I have to tell you exactly what is EPAS. So the EPAS is the Enlarged Partial Agreement for Sports. The aim and the goal is to promote the sports and emphasize its positive values, and also encourage the dialogue between the NGOs, sports federation, and public authorities. As EU athletes, we, because of Walter's job as a general secretary, as former general secretary, we have an observer statute at the EPAS. Who are the EPAS members? And that's when it's becoming really interesting. You have 34 countries that are currently members of EPAS. A lot of them are part of the EU, but a lot of them are also not included in the EU, such as Russia, Azerbaijan, or San Marino, or a couple countries from the former Yugoslavian Republic. And also, added to that, you have, as observers, Canada, Israel, Japan, Mexico, and United States, plus the 23 sports organizations, including EU athletes, but also the IOC, Sport Accord, ENCSO, and UEFA, and a couple others. And that's why this convention is crucial for everybody, because all of you around the table can have an input at your national level on this convention of on the match fixing. The aim of EPAS, just to give you this overview for those who are not familiar with it, is to promote and develop the sport in modern society, develop policies and standards, monitor them and help the capacity building and exchange of good practices, and use the Council of Europe sports standards such as European Sport Charter, Code of Ethics, the Convention on Spectator and Violence, the Anti-Doping Convention, and I'll talk about it, to draw for the basis for drawing up strategies for the future. The work that EPAS has done, so they have created a convention on spectator violence and misbehavior at sporting events, particularly in football. The monitoring group of anti-doping convention, that's something also EU athletes is included in. And the last, and not the least, the convention on anti-doping, which led to something that we don't want anymore. This. And I'll tell you the whole story and the influence of a convention regarding the anti-doping and the WADA code and the code revision. They, a couple years ago, started to draft a convention for the anti-doping at the EPAS level. And then they came up, you know, with this brilliant idea of building a wider organization that could implement anti-doping around the world, WADA. And the UNESCO used the convention as a basis for the UNESCO Convention on Anti-Doping. That means EU had a direct influence on the creation of WADA under those rules. And that's what, we don't want that anymore. And you know, we know that WADA is not efficient, and we know that what they want now is creating another structure such as WADA, a WACA, like Walter liked to call it, for integrity in sports, basically. And for us, looking at the poor results that WADA is having, it's a total disgrace, because we will have to talk with two entities and separate entities that deal with issues that affects directly the athletes and does not make any good work and do not work efficiently. So just to give you this background, so now you have a sense of what's going on and why it's really important for you to implement and talk to your government about it, even if they have an observer status, because they need to be infused with information and information that are involving the athletes, and we're going to talk about it. Now, specifically about the convention on match fixing. What's inside of the convention? You have basically 5 chapters. So you have one of the guiding principles, so they are giving definitions. They're also talking about data protection, because we know it's an issue now. They are talking about prevention and cooperation with public authorities, protection of athletes, sports organization, referees, financing of sports organization, betting market, illegal betting. So they are tackling a lot of issues in the convention. Also, law enforcement, sanction, which is also really important, and then international cooperation, such as extradition, central authority, and umbrella organization for betting industry and lotteries. And that's really something that's really scary to us. And when you look, and Walter gave you a copy, and that's the document that you have in your folder, at the Article 27, the International Forum on Sports Integrity, and we have created an international forum for player association across the world. And what we want to do now is create a structure, a valid structure. So we can imagine that if they want to have a convention, they would like to create a structure after that to formally be a counterpart or being responsible for the integrity in sports. So that's really, really scary to us. That's why we have to give them information and feedback. So you know, EU athletes have asked to be involved in the drafting committee, because they have set up a drafting committee for the convention. And we, together with FIFPro, have sent a request to the General Secretary of EPAS to formally ask him why we were not invited while we were members of EPAS. And he replied a really nice letter saying that they had really long discussions during those sessions to know exactly who should be involved and who should not be involved. And so it's not mentioned in the letter, but I know that it took 35 minutes of the meeting to decide if EU athletes should or should not be involved in the drafting process, which is good. Because at the beginning, it was probably 2 minutes saying, like, EU athletes, no. But now you have, EPAS is requesting for some input from observers or members, and on the other side, you have IOC and International Federation, who say, we are the representative of the athletes, so we don't need EU athletes. But anyway, even if they decided to not include us, we came up with a proposal that you have I displayed copy of the first remarks that we could make on this convention. And I'm going to talk briefly about it. But the same day we send out those recommendations, I received an email formally saying that we would not be included in the drafting process. But because of the work we are doing on the ground in different countries, we have feedback of what's going on, and we know the timetable and the time frame that they are putting in place. So we are going to be really, really active in the drafting process, because it's really key to the development of the convention, because we know the effect that the convention can have in the longer term. And we saw that with the water code. So that's why I would like you to go back to your own country and read that carefully, and send us some comments, send us some feedback, send us your point of view on that, and what we should do in terms of education, sanction, extradition of player, because we would be able to include that into the drafting process. We're going to take all of your point of view into account, and we can include that in our proposal to the convention. And this is the key for the future. I mean, because this convention can have an impact on everyone around the table. And just, I've listed a couple of key things that we highlighted with EU athletes, because because I don't want you to go through the whole documents, the whole convention now. So athletes can be victim. It's not mentioned yet. Also assure athlete safety, the flexibility of punishments, the reference to trade unions, the fundamental and employment rights of the athletes, the importance of education, the role of collective bargaining, the oversight of the law. The addiction is also important, and this is an aspect that we want to target, and also extradition, because I think for me it's a huge issue. So those are the area where we are trying to develop common point of view with EU athletes member, but I think it would be good for you also, and good for us as well, to receive your feedback on this, because we can have a direct impact, and we're going, like I said earlier, we're going to infuse them with a lot of information, and we won't let that go, this convention go on its own. We're going to be there, we're going to attack them, we're going to send them proposal. Now the work that we are doing with FIFPro is going to help us a lot. We're going to have a lot of feedback from their members as well. So, and with the black book that Dayan is going to talk about in a few minutes, it's also going to help a lot in defining our position. So that's what I wanted to present you. Please read those comments when you have time. I mean, maybe not tomorrow, but next week or the week after. And if you have anything that you think that we have missed or forget in our proposal, come back with some comments, and we'll be happy to include that for the next round of consultation. And the next meeting for the drafting committee will be in February. So we have plenty of time to prepare, and we want to be prepared, and we want to be ready for that. Thank you.